what's up and welcome back to my channel, Cooking with Evie. My name's Yvette if you're new here, and today I'd just like to show you a very quick and simple, easy recipe for making a French toast today. Reason being is because I have a lot of bread that needed to be used, lots of eggs, and I was like, what can I do with this that's going to be delicious, easy, and semi-healthy? And so I figured we would do some French toast. You could pair this with eggs if you wanted, turkey bacon, for example, or you can just eat it plain like this with some fruit on the side. That's the approach that we're going to take today. So I'd like to show you how to make it. It's super easy. I'm using a recipe off Pinterest, and it says it takes about like 10 minutes prep time, and I believe it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you. If you do like what you see here, make sure to give this video a like, and also make sure to subscribe. I'm very close to reaching 100, so I would love to have you stick around and join in on the fun. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's get started. Alright guys, so I'm taking you over to my infamous corner here where I make lots of my recipes. It's just the corner of the kitchen that I like to use because I feel like there's a lot of surface area here. So we're gonna get started right away with the recipe. It calls for 4 eggs here that we actually got as a gift from one of our family friends. They had a lot of eggs, so they decided to give us some. So I'm gonna go ahead, crack the first, crack the second. It also tells us to pour in a cup of milk. Now, if you want to use cow's milk, that is perfectly fine. I cannot eat dairy, so we're going to go ahead and stick with good old almond milk. Just a fun tip here, if you didn't know, you can actually replace almond milk in almost every single recipe with the same ratio. So we are going to use 1 cup of almond milk. Let me go ahead and just get my measuring cup, and then we'll go ahead and pour that in. Okay, so I've got my measuring cup right here, and I got my vanilla almond milk, which works great. You can use unsweetened if you like. If you don't want to have added sugar, just use the unsweetened version in either original or vanilla as well. It does call for us to throw in 2 tablespoons of vanilla, and ideally I would have regular vanilla extract, but this is imitation, so if you have regular, definitely recommend it. And I think you might not even need it if you're using vanilla flavored almond milk, but I don't mind extra vanilla flavor, so go ahead and pour in about 2 teaspoons of the vanilla extract. He does not call for this, but I don't think a good French toast is without some cinnamon. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour in some shakes of cinnamon. It's probably a lot. I would say this is at least 1 teaspoon. And it tells us to whisk this all up. So I'm gonna go ahead and whisk it away. You know, I would say this is pretty well whisked up. There's definitely a ton of cinnamon in here, so if you want to go for a lesser amount of cinnamon or omit it altogether, you definitely can, but you know, I happen to like this consistency. So I'm going to go ahead and put the things back in the fridge, throw away this egg carton because we're done with the eggs, and then we'll move you over to the stove. Alright, so we're going to get started with the recipe. It actually calls for us to cut off a tablespoon of butter and melt that on the griddle over medium heat. I have a glass dish here that is made for leftovers. I'm going to actually just have it there ready for when we're done cooking up the French toast. It says to do this over medium heat, so I'm going to go ahead and heat up both of the skillets here. So I am going to let that melt over this griddle here, and I'm using a griddle just to make this process even faster. In that melt, I'm going to tell you about the bread here that we're using. This is just Farmhouse whole wheat bread. This was actually in the freezer for, I don't know, a couple of months because I don't go through bread as fast as I used to. And if we have bread that's going to go bad, we're just going to pop it in the freezer. The bread stays very fresh that way. Believe me, you don't have to worry about it. And then when you're ready to use it, you just want to thaw it out. This has been thawing actually in the fridge for about a day now. So since we are going to use up, I'm pretty sure, the entire pack, I'm not too worried about it. If we end up not using it, then I will go ahead and I will just put it back in the freezer. And I am spreading the butter all across the griddle. Probably not the best way to do this, but hey, we're all about laziness in this kitchen. Make sure that the food tastes great with little effort. In this mixture for about 5 seconds, making sure that both sides are very well coated. So I would say this is pretty good, but let's just do one more dunk. This is definitely at least 5 seconds, and I'm just gonna let it drain ever so slightly with another piece and successively just put them on the griddle. It says to leave them on there on the griddle for about two minutes, so we'll do that. This one's getting real soggy, so let me go ahead and throw it in before it falls apart on me. Go ahead and just stick with these 3. I'm just slipping them over. There we go. Nice and easy. You can just leave them dunked in there for the whole 5 seconds and then flip to the other side, but I like kind of giving it a nice little bath and just flipping it and flipping it. So okay, so we actually decided to, I decided to go ahead and actually flip them like this and add one more piece of bread, just because the griddle in the middle doesn't really heat up all that much. So I think it's probably best that we do the where it's actually being heated. It says to flip it over after 2 minutes. In my opinion, it's already been about 2 minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and give these guys a flip and move this over just a hair, and then we'll get it going. So they're a little bit soggy, and I'm thinking a piece of that may be because of the fact that these were frozen previously, but I don't see this having too much of an effect on it. It smells really good in my opinion. We're probably going to give it a little more time to make sure it gets nice and crispy. There's a lot of cinnamon on there, so that's what you're seeing there, but I think it's going to be good. I'm excited. Just want to talk about what you want to put on top of it. I'm tempted. I have some like confectioner sugar for like decoration or like, you know, nice little touch. I am tempted to put in a little bit of that confectioner sugar on top when I've plated it. You can also pour syrup, honey, or just eat it quite like it is. Honestly, I plan on probably putting a little bit of that sugar on top and then eating it as it is with some fruit on the side. Want to just make it a little different, you can also cut up the bread into sticks to make like French toast sticks. And then if you end up not eating all of this, you can go ahead and freeze it. Then whenever you're ready to have it, you can probably pop it in the toaster or a little toaster oven and you call it a day. These guys a little more time, but this one is almost done. Oh yeah, it's nice and toasty. This is what I want them all to look like. And funny enough, that was the one that actually got put in last. But anywho, while we're waiting, I'm gonna go ahead and show you. I've got the confectioner's powdered sugar right here, and I think I'm gonna do it. I think it's just gonna add a nice little touch. So you can just get any sort of powdered sugar and you just nice little sprinkle of it on top. I have more in the fridge, but I'm gonna cut up some pineapple, rinse these blueberries that I have, blackberries, and then rinse and cut up some strawberries, some cherries. I think this is a good way to incorporate like sweet flavors by adding those fruits on the side. It's a good way if you have kids to get them to get in some more fruits. This will be a fun way for them to incorporate them. Starting to smell really good in here. These two back there are almost ready. I just poured these two in. Remember that I have a salad spinner, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw in all the fruits that need to be washed, then soak for a little bit while going. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in quite a bit of strawberries. Way to make sure you're using the fruit that you buy. If you're anything like me, you buy a lot of fruit in the hopes that you'll eat them and then they kind of just start going south. So this is a good way for you to use them up, and I love cherries so much. So we're gonna throw in quite a bit of cherries in there. The blueberries, I already rinsed them, but while I was rinsing those, I realized, wait a minute, I have a salad spinner. Let me go ahead and make sure to do this the right way. Fill this up with water, fill this up with a little bit of vinegar, and let these soak for about 5 to 10 minutes. So I wanted to show you guys that this recipe was actually just enough for 8 pieces of French toast. If you wanted to do more, I would say add in an extra egg and maybe a little more milk. But I wanted to also show you what the salad spinner looks like once the water's in there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and throw in 2 or so capfuls of vinegar. Since we are competing for real estate on the on the camera space here, I'm just gonna go ahead. This side of the stove is not turned on, so obviously you wouldn't want to do this if that side of the stove was. Surprisingly, I actually don't love eating fruits as much as I like eating veggies. I know that's weird. Most people have the opposite problem, but I find it really not hard. It's getting easier, but I find it a little more tricky for me to find ways to incorporate fruits in a way that makes it enjoyable for me. Don't get me wrong, I like fruit, but I would rather have it in a smoothie, in all honesty. My doctor did say that it's better for me to eat it whole, like actually eat it. So I'm trying, guys, but here it is. So that's really what we do. I'm just gonna cut up 3 of these pineapple pieces just because we have other fruits and I wanna make sure to give them plenty of room to shine as well. So the French toast is all done. Then the fruits have been soaking for about 5 or so minutes. So I'm gonna go ahead and I am going to remove them container and then give it a second just to spin. We just spin it dry as best as we can here. And then, that's as good as I want it anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and make some room here for cutting up the strawberries. I just think it makes it look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing when you can see the inside of the strawberry like that. Also going to remove the stems from the cherries. And then we'll be ready for plating. So we are going to get ready for plating purposes to show you just how you want to plate this. If you want to make it look extra and fancy like I do in this instance, I just like to cut up the bread in half. I would say 2 slices per person is good, like 2 whole slices, that is. Just cut it up. Actually, I'm going to go a little light here for myself, but hubby, I'm going to give him 2. Stack them on like so, and then throw some fruits in there. Don't worry, y'all, my hands are washed. Powdered sugar, and you pour a little bit on top of here. Hold on, y'all. You just sift it on like so. If you want to put a little bit on the fruits, you definitely can as well. And I'm just going to go ahead and throw the rest onto the leftover French toast here. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. I don't make a lot of breakfast items on this channel just because I don't have the time. But today's a weekend, so I figured I'd show you guys what I was making. Hope you guys enjoyed the video and we'll give this a try. Let me know what you want to see next. Take care, y'all, and bye.